Hi, my name is Nature Nick of Animal Adventures, and here today I'm going to talk about a very common question I get following most of my shows, and that question is, what exotic animals make good pets? And unfortunately, the answer is usually not many. Many of the animals that you'll see in my shows, monkeys, lemurs, giant snakes, kangaroos, they really don't make good pets for the average person, simply because they're large, they need special habitat requirements, special diet, and unless you're really a licensed person who's devoted their lives to taking care of them, like I have, it usually doesn't work out that nicely. But there are two animals I'd like to talk about today that really do make fantastic pets. And the first one, I don't know if you could tell, who's been squirming around in my hand, this is one of my favorite animals. This is Sprinkles. And if you couldn't figure it out by now, he is actually an albino pygmy hedgehog. He's adorable. He's usually the first animal I pull out during my shows. He's very good at a magic trick that he does. And these guys make great pets just for the fact that they're so small. That's one reason they're a great pet. To house one of these guys, all you need is a 15 or 20 gallon fish tank that's lined with either pine shavings or aspen shavings. And anyone on YouTube who's going to comment, you're free to do so, but just bear in mind that these are all my personal views. I just hope many people don't put comments saying, don't use pine shavings, don't use this, don't use that, it's this, it's that. You're all entitled to your opinions. This is what I found to work nicely in keeping hedgehogs. Very happy for the past 10 years. But what I like to use is the 15, 20 gallon aquarium lined with pine shavings or aspen shavings or a Carefresh. Seems to work very nicely for these guys. Change it weekly, scrub it down with soapy water and replace the shavings. And to feed them, these guys are very easy to feed, and I'll talk about that in a second. They're really very similar to taking care of a hamster or a gerbil. But again, the diet is the only thing that's different, and I have a little bit of his food with me today. This is a dry kibble formula that you can give them. Very easy. Put it in a very heavy weight. I like these ceramic dishes that they can't tip over because they will move everything around at night when they move around and are awake. But put in it either a dry ferret food, ferret kibble. Just about every pet store you can get that. I do like the ferret formula because it's high in protein, which they need. You have to remember hedgehogs come from Africa and they're used to eating insects. They wake up all night long looking for insects, just the same way the moles and shrews here in the United States will do. So they really do have a very high requirement for protein. And the ferret food, in my opinion, is the only kibble that really meets that protein requirement. But I've heard of other people using specific formulas, that dry kibble made for hedgehogs. It's not always readily available, which is another reason I like the ferret food. And the problem with hedgehog foods also is that they tend to be, really, if you look at the ingredients, they're more designed for rodents. They have flour, they're made with seed, which are foods hedgehogs really don't eat. So your best bet, in my opinion, is to stick to the ferret formula. Just make sure the kibble is very, very small. If the kibble is too big, they will wear down their teeth over their lifetime. So just make sure it's a small kibble. Other people I know have also had very good luck with kitten formulas. Only problem with kitten formulas, it tends to be very high in fat. The ferret food tends to be low in fat, high in protein, which is good. But as long as you feed them well, clean their cage once a week, handle them every day so they don't curl up into their ball all the time, it's a great pet. They have a similar lifespan to a hamster or gerbil, which is a blessing and a curse. You don't have to worry about an animal that will be outliving you or that'll still be around 20 years from when you get it, which is good, but then again you may be sad after the 3 years. That's the most I've been able to get out of them. And another pet I brought with me today, let's see if I can get her out, and as soon as I get her out you're going to know exactly what she is. Nothing drives people crazier than these guys, and this is, yep, it's a snake. And these are one of my favorite types of snakes, and I really wish I knew about these guys growing up, because this, in my opinion, is the best pet for kids. And any mothers watching this, you're going to be shaking your head saying, I will never have a snake in my house. But hear me out. Here are the reasons why snakes make great pets. First of all, they eat once a week, okay? And it doesn't have to be live mice or rats, okay? You don't have to do that. In my opinion, it's cruel to do that, but that's a song and dance and a video for another day. You can keep frozen mice. You can get them from a pet store frozen, thaw them out the same way you would a chicken breast, okay? Hot water for a couple of hours, give it to the snake, they'll take it, especially if it's a captive-born one. So they're right off the bat once a week. That's all it eats. That's all you have to worry about. Your child is not the most responsible. You don't have to worry if they forget to feed it. If they miss a week feeding it, it's not the end of the world. The snake is fine. So they're very hardy in that way. Another reason snakes are great, well, this type of snake, okay? Again, this is my personal viewpoint. With any snake, by the way, this is a milk snake. That's what she's called, okay? And she's in a group of snakes called the colubrids. That includes milk snakes, king snakes, corn snakes, rat snakes, bull snakes. There's a whole bunch that you can get at a pet store. And they all, in my opinion, make fantastic pets. First of all, she's about full grown, okay? That's about a 2.5, 3 foot long snake, okay? It's not going to grow into a monster python that you'll eventually be afraid of or worry about escaping. You don't have to worry about that with a snake that's this big. That's as big as most of these guys get. Even a corn snake or a king snake, the biggest I've seen them is 4 or 5 feet, but look at how skinny they are. That's about as fat as my thumb. You don't have to worry about a big fat python that's as wide as my leg is. So these guys, not too big, eat once a week like most snakes. And my favorite thing about them, if you go for the colubrids, they don't require heating, okay? And again, there will be people on this YouTube video that will comment and say they absolutely need heating. You have to remember these snakes come from all over the United States, okay? That's where most of these guys are native to. Okay, and you have to remember the United States, temperatures are all over the place, okay? And these snakes are extremely adaptable. This type of snake would do very well in a very hot part of the southern part of the United States or even part into middle part of the United States. They do really, really well at varying temperatures, which is why I've found they don't need a heating element. So these guys, all you need, for a milk snake, she's perfectly content in a 20-gallon aquarium with a locking lid. Make sure you get that. But that's really all they need. I like newspaper for my snakes, but you can also use aspen shavings or Carefresh bedding. The newspaper I like because it's cheap, disposable, very, very easy. And just make sure it's a locking lid. No heat, you don't have to worry about your electric bills going up because you're trying to keep the aquarium and the tank at the right temperature, which is a problem with ball pythons, boa constrictors, many of the larger tropical snakes that are just very difficult to take care of, especially if you're a newcomer to the snake world and snake industry. So that's why, and the last reason why I love snakes is if you're getting a captive-born animal, something that wasn't taken from the wild, and you handle it every day, they're as docile as this one is right here. She is one of my favorite animals to bring to shows. I mean, this snake I could let kids hold, and she'll curl all around them, and I don't have to worry about her biting or being stressed. She's grown up doing these shows with me. So this animal, a snake, and most snakes are generally very well behaved, as long as you're not getting into something like the pythons, the emerald tree boas, animals like that. Those are higher maintenance and definitely for a more experienced keeper. But as long as you stick to something like a corn snake, a milk snake, bull snake, rat snake, and you handle it every day, this is a great pet. But again, I wish I found these little milk snakes when I was about 11 or 12. I started off with ball pythons, garter snakes, boa constrictors, which are really, in my opinion, intermediate snakes. And then again, you run into all the heating elements and everything else. But as far as a pet that is low maintenance, extremely low maintenance, that you feed once a week, you could go away on vacation for a weekend and leave the snake. You don't have to pull your hair out trying to find a pet sitter. Make sure she has food, and I'm sorry, not food, she has water every day. Once a week you feed her, and every day or every other day, just take her out and handle her, and then put her back, make sure she's locked in very nicely. I have a whole bunch of stories like that growing up with snakes escaping and never to be found again, or found again several weeks later. But that won't happen if you get a locking cage, and just make sure it's locked securely when you put the snake back. So, great animal, and you can't beat the coloring on this animal. This is a beautiful, beautiful snake. I mean, look at these reds and blacks and whites. This is something usually you only see on poisonous animals, but this is just, in my opinion, a beautiful animal, low maintenance animal. Can't beat a snake, in my opinion. Okay, so moms, I hope you're a little bit more open-minded to getting your son or daughter a snake now. If you follow my guidelines, it can't be better, okay? Most boys growing up love snakes. I was no different, but as long as you follow these guidelines, or if you like the hedgehog, that's great too, great pet. If you happen to be on Long Island and you're looking for one of these animals, I have a friend who's actually my mentor, and you're going to know exactly who he is as soon as I tell you. It's Mark Marone, okay? If you want to look at his YouTube videos after mine, he's the crazy animal guy with animals falling off the table, running around everywhere, big parrot on his shoulder. He's right here in Long Island, New York. He's still around. People kind of forgot about him when Martha Stewart went off the air, but he owns his own pet store. It's 20 minutes from New York City, from Manhattan, 20 minutes from JFK Airport. If you happen to be visiting the area, you can get a pet from him and go right back with you. So from both major airports, LaGuardia and JFK, it's 20 minutes from there. And he's always there. He'll help you find an animal. Any questions you have, you can ask him. He has all these animals. These are just two that I talked about today, but he has sugar gliders, he has hedgehogs, short-tailed possums, prairie dogs in the spring, all different types of reptiles that make great starter pets for you or for your children. He'll be more than happy to help you with them. Most of these small guys I get from him for my program. So if an animal trainer and a professional wildlife educator can get animals from, I definitely have no hesitation recommending him. So you can go to Parrots of the World to find out more about him and more about those animals, and to find out more about me, go to naturenick.com. Hope you enjoyed this video, my little rant. It really went longer than I thought. So thanks.